Hello there, I'm Claudia Fox. Welcome back to my show, Degrees of Success. As most of you know who have been following the show, I interview people who are successful, usually without a degree, but I found that this is easily transferable to anyone who's an entrepreneur. Recently, we've been talking with Terry Murphy, who's the founder and chief enthusiast for Healing the Chickadee. Terry has all those entrepreneurial skills, including some very creative genes. Terry and I were talking on the last couple of shows, and she was so excited to bring Christina Connors to the show today. Now, Terry's going to give you a little recap of the Soulful Forest, and then Christina, who has a show on YouTube for preschoolers, will fill us in on what she's all about. Christina is a singer, and she worked her way through cruise ships, and she now has her own company. She has a show that's got little animated characters, Buddy and the Love Bugs. And Christina does this inside of a cottage, so we'll let her explain all of that too. She works with the emotions of children. She helps them to express them, to see them. And so basically, I'm going to turn this show over to Terry because she and Christina have worked so long together on Terry's Healing the Chickadee, and then, of course, Christina's own show. So, Terry, take it away.
Okay. Christina and I have been friends, 15 years now?
At least.
And neither of us has aged a day. I think it's actually miraculous. We are,
right.
Yeah, it's great. So we started out together with the same heart. It's the heart for children and helping them with emotional regulation and the ability to express themselves. And together, over a lot of cups of coffee at Panera Bread, we ended up coming up with this wonderful thing called the Soulful Forest. And I'm just going to give you, we talked about it at the last show, but it segues into what you've done. In the Soulful Forest, the only way in is through the Garden of Gratitude, because we know all good things start in gratitude. We always want to spend a lot of time on Mindful Mountain. On Mindful Mountain is where we learn to appreciate here and now. We don't worry about the past and we don't worry about the future. We remain in the now. And that's part of staying serene. Sometimes we have to come down the river of resilience, which is where we learn about fear and grief and loss. And we always end up down at the reflecting pond to see what we've learned about ourselves along the way. There's a safe place to go called the Grief Glen, and that's where the Healing Chickadee resides, to help children through grief and loss. We also have the Field of Forgiveness. The Field of Forgiveness is where we learn to love, accept, and forgive ourselves so we can love, accept, and forgive others. Diversity University is where we learn to celebrate the differences. Camp Kindness is where we learn to speak to one another with civility. And the Tranquil Tree is Christina and I's favorite, I think. And when you sit underneath the Tranquil Tree, you learn to get space between how you feel and what you choose to do and say. That's one of your favorite places, I know. And we always want to avoid Camp Chaos at Bellyacres Farm, where everyone is constantly alarmed. So you and I worked on this, and we had a great time with it, and I've kind of taken it in one direction. There's a book about Diversity University. There's the Healing Chickadee. A lot of great things have sprung forth from the Soulful Forest. And tell me about Christina's Cottage.
Yes, so Christina's Cottage came about. I'm a massage therapist, and I spent over 20 years now massaging young parents in their homes, and I couldn't help but notice lots of stress and overwhelm within the home environment, and I couldn't help but think, gee, what's going on with these young kids that are, not only is the world outside of us so stimulating and a little chaotic, is that now they also have that in the home. So I noticed a need for more nurturing programs for preschoolers and young children, and then I realized we can do this together. It doesn't have to be a program for just preschoolers, because I have been nurturing adults for over 20 years. I thought, what if I created something short, sweet, and simple and playful that they can do together? So the parent can, re-parent themselves and understand their own triggers and why they are creating such a stressful environment which obviously we know comes from within, and at the same time to help the child maintain a natural sense of love, curiosity, and joy, and not be so much affected by the parent. So to me, it's letting the parent reparent, and to allow the child to stay a child and to develop healthy. So that's kind of where Christina's Cottage came about. And I'm a professional singer as well, and I realize I can kind of take all of the things that I love to do. I love to produce. I'm a producer, and I love to sing, and I'm very playful. My brother used to always get myself and my niece confused. She's like 22 years younger than me. And he used to call me Allison and Allison me. I'm like Eric. I mean, I'm 22 years older than her. And he said, well, you're kind of the same person. And when I was younger, I was like, God, I was a little bit, offended. But then I realized, wow, what a compliment.
Yes.
What a compliment that my brother saw the childlike nature that I never lost. Which a lot of adults have lost, and
you do have the heart of a child.
I do.
You do. You really do.
For sure. That's where we get the definitions. Childlike and childish, are very different, right? Childlike is still responsible, but then childish is someone still stuck in the child wound. So yeah, that's kind of how Christina's Cottage came about, and I decided to have them be little very short vignettes, because who has time to sit down for 30 minutes, plus because I wanted the parent to be there with the child, or a caregiver or a teacher, so that it's bite-sized. And that's where, that's kind of how it created.
So there's this safe connection. You've created a place, Christina's Cottage, for a very safe connection. I have a bunch of grandkids, and one of them is 3 years old, and I don't think she stops, she only stops moving when she's asleep. But when they get kind of worked up about something, one of the things, my daughters are great parents, but they learned from me, which is like, I would try to get her to calm down. And what I found is that when you take that moment and stop fighting that and say, talk to me, tell me what you're feeling, and have that safe connection, it brings the whole energy down. So tell me more about how you do that.
Well, so Christina's Cottage is located in the town of Safe Harbor. And it's basically about, no child can learn if they're not feeling safe. So first we have to create the safety. That's where they can now open up to learn new things, as well as adults, right? When we're stressed, our brains can't learn anything new when we're in those fight, flight, freeze, modes. So we have to all learn how to calm ourselves. And don't forget, young children actually rely on the adults to co-regulate them. So in order for our child to calm, we need to be the mirror. We need to, lead them in the calm. So you can't shake a child to calm down, right? So I'm a firm believer that we need to practice what we preach. And it's not about perfection, it's about learning together. Processing all of these things together, growing together, because it's, we're gonna all keep learning and growing until we're not here anymore.
Right.
It doesn't matter how old we are, we're still learning and growing, right? So I remember Barbara Streisand had said, I'm sure she heard it somewhere, she said, the more I learn, the more I've learned that I don't know. It's like, the more things I understand, it's like, oh my God, I don't know anything. So it's kind of that same way. But so I actually use songs. I have a very dear friend. His name is David Friedman, and he is a multi-platinum award-winning composer. He conducted, Beauty and the Beast, The Little Mermaid, all of those Disney movies. But him and I collaborate on Christina's Cottage because we have a shared passion for helping children, because he leads a group from a book that he wrote called The Thought Exchange, and it's really all about helping adults rewire their own thought processes. But we've learned those are all just survival thoughts, right? When we were children, that when we had traumas, they weren't repaired, so then we created a story, right? So David is basically helping adults now change the storyline. And so he has a passion for that as well as myself. So wow, if we can keep all these adults out of his thought exchange classes, let's keep them, the next generation out of that. The generation, our world is in need of a lot of work, and I believe it's possible, but our next generation cannot be in therapy. So we want to help. So I figured it was twofold. Let's help the adults reparent themselves, and the child, to stay, connected to that. So I use songs and, talking into the camera as inviting the child at home into the cottage rather than them watching from the outside. So most of the videos are, welcome, come on in, join us, can you help me? So that the child feels seen and heard and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's simple songs, and
it's amazing. I've seen you have a YouTube channel called Christina Connors 444.
Christina's Cottage.
I'm sorry, yes. Christina's Cottage 444.
Yeah.
And it is extraordinary. You're having a grandchild coming up soon.
Yes.
So isn't that fun? So she said she's gonna as soon as it's possible to have them go into the soulful forest. Here's the thing, as a person who's now a grandma, I wish I would had this and David Friedman's Thought Exchange, because when I look back on my parenting, I was scared a lot. And when you're scared, right, fight or flight, I overreact or overstimulate the kids. And my girls are much better parents than I ever was, because they, I guess because they watched me make some boo-boos. And I've said to them, if I had to do it all over again, I would have had more fun with you. I would have connected with you more instead of tried to parent you more. So what you're doing is really important. Can we see the graphic?
Yeah,
I'm so excited. This is so cute.
So I have, there's a handful of characters, but the characters that I've introduced so far in the cottage, one is Buddy. Buddy is the cottage's mascot, and he actually is our family dog, Buddy Connors. Yeah. And so anyways, I decided he needed to be a part of it. So he's our mascot, but I also have 7 little love bugs, and they actually represent the chakras in the body. Anyone who studies mindfulness or yoga, they all understand the energy centers in the body, which are now there's science behind all of these energy centers. So it's not woo-woo. There's true science behind all of this. So I was really passionate about bringing the energy centers to life for children in a way that's playful and fun. And so here are the love bugs you can see here. So Rudy represents the root chakra, and he is the love bug. He's very grounded. He's all about safety, so he plays in the dirt with his truck. And then we have Joy on the second rung there, and Joy is all about creativity. That's our sacral chakra, and Joy loves to paint. And Valor is our solar plexus chakra, which is all about self-esteem, courage, being brave. So that's Valor there. And then, of course, we have the heart chakra bug, Amora. And need I say any more about that? And then Chatty, of course, we have the throat chakra bug. So Chatty loves to chat, but she knows that she can always function better in life when she's speaking from her heart and speaking what feels true to her, and that's what she inspires. And then we have Sage, which is our wise bug, and Sage just came out with a new video, and it is called When I Am Feeling Frustrated, and you can do the love bug hop, and that is what Sage teaches us, so you can check that out in the YouTube channel. And then, of course, at the top of the tree, we have Spark. And Spark really represents our connection to everyone, to understand that part, the divine nature in us, that we are all connected ultimately. And she reminds us all about that. We are all a unique spark in life and in the universe. And once we understand that our spark is important, needed, and then that we can, I really believe we can all, you know, apply our own sparks to the healing and growing of our own planet. So yeah, so these bugs are very playful. We have a lot of fun. And yeah, once again, they have their own little characteristics and just having a blast creating.
And Spark would tell a child that it's so wonderful that you're unique. You are your own spark, and they get to, can I just say this word? Brilliant. I just think, you know, I'm your friend and I'm also your big fan, but I think this is absolutely brilliant. And when you go to the YouTube channel and the kids will do it with the parents, and it's cute, it's adorable, and you and I have kind of a spiritual story.
Yeah.
We met through a series of circumstances, a young girl named Tian, T-I-A-N, and she lives in Kolkata, India. And the fact that you and I would end up being connected to her in some way is kind of miraculous and helps us believe in miracles. And she does all of the video, and she creates all of the illustrations. She's extraordinary.
She, you know, once again, you know, I believe in a successful program, you need to have like-minded collaborators and like vision, and like, you know, we all want the same thing. We all want to make the world a better place, and it starts with not only our own inner child and ourselves, but, you know, to nurture and cultivate a healthy next generation, mind, body, spirit, and that's really what, you know, inspired me. And another big tool that we have in the cottage is I put a lot of focus on the heart, because there's an incredible institute called the Heart Math Institute. It's located in California, and they have 30 years of research on the heart and its ability to not only connect us to our intuition and to our own inner truth, but it also is an incredible tool for self-regulation. As a massage therapist, I understand that where we go, where we place our attention, you know, the energy flows. And so I always encourage people to put their hands on their hearts when regulating their own emotions, and so the heart is a big tool. And so soon we're going to be doing a whole series of Me and the Bugs. We're going to be doing with kids little mantras. But right now I'm doing a whole series on my Instagram for adults. And it's a weekly love letter, and it's our shared heart, a message sharing for us, because I think that, you know, the heart is something we all share. It doesn't matter where you live, what country, it doesn't matter. We all have the same heart, and it all wants the same thing. And so I kind of bringing us all together in a coherent way through the heart, you know. So I just lift up the little lid here, and, you know, we do our little, you know, shared heart message, and I pull out a little love note, and it's just kind of a fun way to bring attention to the heart as well as connecting to each other in a way that's deep and full of love and intention of wanting to, you know, be better.
If ever the world needed something right now, this is it, right? Because of the division and the heartbreak and frankly the violence. When we can begin to connect, and it's so strange because Tian, all the way across the ocean, I feel like there's a thread that connects us all the way across. Sometimes we will give her an idea, and then she comes back with something better than we even thought of.
Well, and it's funny that Terry just said to me, I love those glasses on you. Well, it's funny, it wasn't my idea. I had said to Tian, we need to maybe put glasses on me, and she just drew these. And so then I was like, oh, those are cool. And so she actually was Tian's idea about the glasses and them being square and green. I wanted them to be green because Amora, the heart chakra bug, is the color green. And so it's kind of my way of saying, you know, and reminding myself to speak from my heart. And so, and see the world through the eyes of my heart. When I see people doing violent things, to remind myself that that's just a child that's had trauma that wasn't repaired. And it is up to us to reparent and repair ourselves, and so that we can be the stewards for these children growing up in this very overstimulating, loud, fast-paced world, to help them develop a strong inner landscape connection, so that way no matter what's going on outside them, they can go, oh, that's right, I have my own wellspring of peace within me, no matter where I am. And I think that's important for them to remember that, because as we now progress in such an extremely not only loud, fast-paced, but digital world, the children, I want the children to go, oh, I have this natural resource within me, and to turn to that, because that's where we're going to remember our authentic self, and that is the part of us that's going to make the world a better place, not who we think we should be, but the part of us that is why we came here, to embody that natural beauty and uniqueness that we all are.
Yeah. Also, in this day and age, there are so many children that are on those cell phones.
I know.
I see 2 years old.
I know.
A year and a half.
Yeah.
That's the babysitter. Yeah. So I can only imagine they're growing up in a world by themselves, not really connected the way at least I was when I was a child. I had sisters and brothers. We went outside. We played together. We did games together. We learned how to interact with each other. And I see, what's going on now is that isolation and just a connection to a computer or a cell phone. I've seen families out to dinner where everybody's on there.
I know, I have
I'm
too.
like, help. I just have,
Well, you had some craft projects and stuff that kids and parents can do together, like the Gratitude Garden. I love your Gratitude Garden. And when you think about it, when I was thinking Gratitude Garden, I'm thinking big garden. And she had a little planter, because kids are little and they're
But not only that, but I think that most families don't live in a house with a garden. Most families live in an apartment or small homes, and so you can put it in a potted plant. And I think that bringing gratitude in the home is so important, because it just raises everyone's vibe. I mean, we're going to have struggles, and life can be hard. And just to it's a reminder to just say, gratitude garden, And to your point about, everyone being on the devices, I personally feel that a lot of times the kids are on these devices because it calms the kids, because the parent doesn't know how to calm their own emotions, and they don't know how to feel. So they say, well, at least if they're calm, then I don't have to feel my own emotions, because I don't know how to deal with them. So that's once again the inspiration for the collaborative program. It could be a parent, it could be a caretaker. I mean, I'm an aunt. It could be an aunt and a child, a teacher, a grandparent. And so it's really about small, fun things you can do together that bring you, creative and present. Like, when there's this big mindfulness movement. But to me, when I think of mindfulness, I think really it's about presence.
Right.
Being present is really what mindfulness is. Let's be present. Let's look at the gratitude. Let's water it together. It requires of course, mindfulness, but to me, the word comes to me is just presence, being present to one another. Then we feel seen and we feel heard, because I can be with you, but not with you.
Right.
And I have my dear cousin in Sweden. She works with young children, and her daughter just had a child, and she tells my cousins, her daughter, to say, I do not want a device. I don't want a device in your hand while you're hanging, spending time with your daughter, because she's going to get those messages that I'm not important because I'm in your room with you, but this is more important. So you don't understand how important those things are, and how vital it is. It's not about being perfect. It's about just remembering tools, mindfulness, all of these things, about just when we want to do better, we want to be better, we can do better, but we just have to practice.
Yeah.
So
I saw something the other day. It said, when do you give your child a phone? You give your child a phone when you want their childhood to end. And it's like, I thought that was so powerful.
However, then there's these amazing programs. You have Blue's Clues, you have Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood, you have, obviously Christina's Cottage, all of these. If they're going to be in front of a screen, why don't we educate them? Or why don't we help them feel seen and heard? I mean, when you think of Blue's Clues, they invite the child right in, and there are a lot of kids who parents are so busy working to provide for the family, and thank goodness. So let's support each other.
Yeah.
Let's not blame. Let's not shame. Let's support. Let's collaborate. I know you're busy. You just got home from work. let's connect with, let's help you connect, and we'll connect with your child and help them feel seen and heard while you're gathering yourself, and then let's come together. And so I think that's the shaming and the blaming is just going to create resentment and resist, right? You're gonna go, oh, even if someone wants to share something with you so that you can grow, if you're shaming and blaming, they're gonna defend.
Right.
And I mean this on a personal and a global level. And so it's not about shaming anyone or blaming. Let's go, let's get on the same side of the table and go, this is hard, let's not be enemies. Let's come together and go, how can we make this, this happened, and how can we do better? And make the world a better place for our children. And so it's funny, they talk about road rage, and I would say, how do you help someone with road rage? And I say, well, just pretend that every person on the road is your child.
Yeah.
How do you want someone to be on the road with your child in a car? How do you want, when you meet someone, how do you want someone to greet your child? And so if we all thought immediately that, well, ultimately we are all someone's child.
Right.
What if they're your child? How do you want, treat people in the world of how you want the world to treat your child?
Yeah.
I think the world will transform in a heartbeat.
Yeah. It's funny. I always think to myself, when somebody's driving me crazy on the road, maybe they're sick, maybe they're on their way to the hospital.
You don't know.
Right.
Maybe they're having a baby in the car. So to your point is to put it into a positive, reasonable expectation.
Yes.
And compassionate.
Compassion.
We really need
That's
a whole dose of compassion.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we do. For ourselves.
Yes.
Right? Like you said.
Well, you can
for
only
ourselves
give
and others.
compassion out to someone else if you have it for yourself.
Right.
That's
And
right.
so a friend of mine have this, we say, I love this word, I'll say, do you want to go out this weekend? She'll be like, I don't have the body budget for that. But maybe, so we talk about body budgets. So it's, I think, a parent or teacher or anyone in the world, how much self-care, how much of our body budget are we filling so that when we go out in the world, we have something to give? So, so it's like, wake up in the morning, how can I fill up my body budget today? Okay, I'm gonna go for a walk, Just to know it's like, know thyself.
Right.
Because we do so much and we think we need to do it. No, if you don't have that body budget full, you don't need to do anything. All you need to do, you need to fill your cup first.
Yeah.
I love that.
I do. For you and I especially.
No, seriously. Do you want to go out?
Yes,
do you want to go out?
Yeah.
For me as a massage therapist, hi, do you have time for me today? And I go in, of course I don't say, well, my body budget. I say,
Right.
unfortunately I don't, but how about tomorrow?
Yeah.
I could.
I love, you and I, we're going to talk to each other about body budget.
It's important.
We are.
So,
Because when your body budget's full, you're happy. You can be happy. You can be kind because you're full.
I'm your big fan, and I just love this. And this has been such a great time. Thank you for coming today. This has been fantastic.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, I'm just wondering, would you take us out with a song?
Oh, okay. I'm going to take us out with a song on YouTube that I sing with the Love Bugs, and it's called Happiness.
Okay.
Okay, and it says, there is something special you can feel, waiting for you just inside your heart. When you're looking for a friend who will be there till the end, inside your heart's a real good place to start. Happiness is liking who you are, reaching for a star.